Please welcome now to the podium the valedictorian of the class of 2024, Megan Shia.
Good evening, parents, faculty, friends, siblings, and of course, the class of 2024. It is my honor to take up these 5 minutes of your day, so to make the most out of them, I want to begin by telling you all something embarrassing about myself. And that is that my first celebrity crush was Bob the Builder. For those of you older gentlemen who don't know who he is, Bob is essentially a construction worker on a PBS show called Bob the Builder, who you can picture as having a horizontally elliptical face and cute little construction worker overalls, and I guess an inverted Mr. Sellis stance. But while I loved all those aspects of Bob, what I loved most was the way each episode began with his friends asking, "Can we fix it?" To which he would always reply with, "Yes, we can." 9 years later, I experienced my first loss of innocence. I discovered that Bob got married. Today, I can't say I still love Bob the Builder the way I did when I was a child, but I don't think I will ever stop loving his relentless optimism and determination, and the way nothing felt impossible to him. As I stand in front of the class of 2024, I see people who remind me of Bob the Builder. They're not physically, of course. We're a class willing to explore beyond what others tell us is possible, while maintaining shards of that childlike idealism that has helped us achieve great things. This is why I won't pretend to impart some sort of wisdom onto some of the most brilliant and determined and passionate people I've ever met. So instead of talking about approaching adulthood and becoming successful, which I at the wise age of 17 don't know much about, I wanted to share my hope for this class, which is this: never fully grow up. I say this because our class has faced so many obstacles. We've survived the global pandemic, virtual learning, and extremely unstable Wi-Fi when randomly being called on during world studies. We've gotten through midterms, finals, standardized tests, cold writes, Mr. Barron's pop quizzes. We've embarrassed ourselves, we've been rejected, we've sometimes failed. But I've always believed, and Mr. Murphy will like this, that there's a positive, moderately strong, and probably nonlinear correlation between adversity and maturity. The more challenges we face, the quicker we grow up and lose that childhood innocence and idealism. The quicker we begin to internalize what other people tell us is impractical or impossible or unrealistic. Tomorrow, we're going to get thrown out of the little fish tank that is Lower Moreland into the vast ocean that is the world. Sometimes we'll be swimming with the current, but more often than not, we'll be swimming against it. We might encounter problems and, like Bob the Builder, ask ourselves, can we fix it? Only to have the 99% of us, that is our mature adult selves, tell us that it is too impractical, too impossible, too unrealistic, and thus not worth the effort. But I hope that we will hang on to that 1% of our childhood selves that believe, yes, we can. Every one of you manifests this idealistic, gritty childhood self. For instance, Richard and Tommy have told me about how they initially couldn't even run a mile, but practiced every day as part of the track team and can now run not just one, but multiple miles. Sometimes, when I'm wandering around the halls after school, I see students like Jess Packman and Alyssa Rubenstein finding their teachers for extra practice problems. And each day, I'm inspired by the way we invest so much time into our clubs and community service and extracurriculars, the way some of us manage part-time jobs and family responsibilities on top of schoolwork. And we've all made it out alive because we've listened to that innocent self in us who is unafraid of failure and unwilling to give up. Please do not lose that. The future, at least to me, is probably just as spooky as the hidden future in Liam and Isaac's paper roller coaster project. But we've all experienced how quickly time passes. In a few minutes, we'll be graduating from high school. In a few days, we won't know what to do with so much free time. In a few months, we'll be going to college or trade school or the workforce. In a few years, we'll be chasing harder after our dreams. And in a few decades, we'll probably all be dead. Yet even though life is constant... Yet even though life is constantly moving forward, I hope that every now and then you guys will stop focusing on where you're going and appreciate where you are and the people who got you there. We might never meet another teacher like Mr. Tamaccio, who will play a song called Big Ol' Butt for us while we're learning simple harmonic motion 3 weeks before our AP exam, or another buff P90X loving Mr. Morris. We might never meet another Isha who gives us passionate speeches on Marxism, or another Alan Joseph who's, I guess, just Alan. But it's these people that make up the Lower Moreland community that we're a part of and who have grown to become a part of us. So if your yes we can feels a little bit unconfident or uncertain, I hope you simply turn around and see that behind you is this community that will always be there to support you. Because alone, your achievements might reach, as Sam Horsnell would say, an asymptote, but together they become exponential. I wanted to end by acknowledging some of the people who have carried me to where I am now. I first want to thank my grandma, or in Chinese, my waipo, for actually traveling all the way from China to hear me talk in a language she barely understands. My parents for encouraging me to pursue what makes me happy, and my brother for letting me usually be on the receiving side of a relationship. Sorry about that. I also want to thank my friends who deal with my nonsense, my teachers for being the source of every speck of knowledge that is in my brain, and this includes Ms. Bueni and Mr. Solomon for editing this speech. Thank you guys. The faculty for running this school, and my classmates for having inspired me every single day that I'm here. And finally, to those asleep in the audience, thanks for appreciating the soothing quality of my voice. And to those awake, thank you for being patient. Remember, class of 2024, this moment is a culmination of the last 13 years of your life. We've acquired the tools in our tool belts to succeed. Now, we just need to put on our metaphorical hard hats and keep striving. Stay young, stay positive. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you, Megan.